This week in Pokemon Go, we are going to be getting a community day featuring the Pokemon NICKIT, and there's nothing much else, because it is going to be an off week, which means it's going to be a choose your path week, and that means there's not going to be any kind of in-game events or anything special, but there might be a few things you will want to pay attention to, and I'm going to be going over all of that in this video. Hey, what's happening everyone? Jinsula here with a brand new Pokemon Go video. I hope your day is going really well, and let's get right into it. So the way that Niantic Scopely has set up Pokemon Go is that every other week there is an in-game event, but on the weeks there is not an in-game event, there's just general content. Nothing really exciting going on. In my opinion, I kind of like that system because for a while now, it felt like there was some event fatigue where there was always some sort of event that you had to pay attention to, but now it seems like there is an opportunity for you to have an off week, which could be a good thing. It could mean for you to be able to restock on Pokeballs, maybe just focus in on a few things here and there, or just simply to take a break. And I personally really like that. And of course, they added something, so it's not just no content. They have something called the Choose Your Path mechanic, where you could pick between 3 different playstyles, and you would get a timed special research just tailored to that sort of gameplay. There could be one for exploring, which is all about hatching eggs and also getting Pokestops, and there's one for catching Pokemon and one for battling. And depending on how far you progress in this timed research, you get various rewards. I do actually enjoy that. I think it's actually pretty solid gameplay and something for you to do on the off weeks. And yeah, that's basically it. That's what this week is going to be. But of course, there's also going to be a community day happening during this week. It's going to be August Community Day featuring the Pokemon NICKIT. And let's go over the details for that, and then we'll go over some of the other weekly content. August 2026 Community Day featuring the Pokemon NICKIT is going to be happening on Sunday, August 16 at 2 o'clock p.m. local time until 5 o'clock p.m. local time. The big thing with this event is, of course, getting a special background, and possibly a shiny with a special background. That will probably be the biggest reward, because aside from that, NICKIT is not necessarily a relevant Pokemon. Now, if you were to evolve NICKIT into Thievul during this event, it's going to get the exclusive move Icy Wind. This does give it some potential within the Go Battle League. It certainly changes things up a bit, but considering that there are certain Pokemon in the meta right now that are going to be direct counters to Thievul, this is not necessarily that relevant. Now, there's also going to be a special research which you can purchase within the web store or the in-game shop, and it will reward you with encounters with NICKIT with a special background. You could potentially get yourself a high IV shiny with the special background, so that is something you should keep in mind. There's also going to be field research tasks throughout the event, which is going to give you NICKIT encounters as well as Ultra Balls, and you might encounter NICKIT with a special background. This is a good way for you to pick up high IV shinies, and possibly one with a special background. You should definitely not ignore it, especially if you are looking for high IV shinies. It kind of makes this event very similar to a limited research event, and this is something that I think a lot of players tend to neglect. So yeah, definitely complete field research tasks during this event. You might get lucky and get yourself a really good shiny. There's also going to be a timed research which you can get from checking in with a community ambassador, and it's going to be very similar to the paid timed research, where you're going to get yourself a NICKIT with a special background as well as some premium items. And then finally, let's go over the bonuses that are going to be active during this event. And I will say, some of these bonuses are actually really good and might make this community day worth it. First and foremost, we're going to get a triple Stardust bonus for this community day, and that is definitely a very good bonus for a community day, considering they crank up the spawn rates of the Pokemon and you can get yourself a whole bunch of Stardust. And yeah, I will say this is probably one of the silver linings with this community day, considering the Pokemon itself is not necessarily that exciting. Now, you're also going to get double the amount of candy for catching Pokemon and double the chance at getting Candy XL whenever you catch Pokemon. This is something you could utilize with Pokemon that you have saved up within your research task rewards. So if you're looking to get extra candy for any of those Pokemon, make sure you catch them during this event. And just like every other community day, incense used during the event are going to last for 3 hours, and this does exclude the daily adventure incense, and you're going to get additional surprises whenever you take snapshots. Lure modules are going to last for 1 hour, and you're going to get one additional special trade, and trades are going to cost 50% less Stardust. And if you miss the event hours from 2 o'clock p.m. to 5 o'clock p.m., you could also get an extended duration of this community day using lure modules, where you're going to get the community day Pokemon under lures until 9 o'clock p.m. local time. And they will have the boosted shiny rate, and they have the possibility of having the special background. So if you're not going to be able to play during the community day hours, don't worry about it, just look for some Pokestops and lure them up. Alright, next up, let's go over the weekly content, starting with Max Battles. So, starting with this week's Max Monday, we're going to be getting Beldum in Max Battles, and of course, this is actually a really decent Dynamax Pokemon. If you can get yourself a Dynamax Metagross with Meteor Mash, that's going to be a really good Pokemon for Max Battles. Of course, it does get outshadowed by Zacian and Zamazenta, but still, if you do not have those, then Beldum is definitely one worth going after. It's also quite easy to take down. And then when it comes to 5-star raids, this week we're going to have the legendary Pokemon Groudon. It's going to be appearing in 5-star raids starting on August 12th until August 18th. And I will say that when it comes to legendary raid bosses, this is a top tier legendary. However, some players will say you should not raid for regular Groudon because it's going to be much more worth it for you to do primal Groudon raids. And the reason for that is because you could also collect primal energy for primal Groudon on top of getting Groudon encounters as well as Groudon candy. But I kind of disagree with that. Even though you're not getting primal energy for Groudon, you should still raid it, because if you're lucky enough to get a perfect IV Groudon, it is still worth powering up. Now, coinciding with Groudon, we're also going to be getting Mega Garchomp in Mega Evolution raids during this week, and very similar to Groudon, this is a top tier ground type Mega Evolution, and also a dragon type. So I do think this one is worth farming Mega Energy for. It is a very strong Mega Evolution, and in some cases, you will want to use Mega Garchomp as opposed to Primal Groudon, like most notably in Super Mega Raids, where Primal Groudon is not going to break the shield. And also in raids during this week, it's going to be Shadow Giratina altered form in Shadow Legendary raids. If you want to get this Pokemon, I would suggest doing a couple of these raids throughout the month, because it is actually a very powerful Shadow Legendary Pokemon. And also during this week, on Thursday, we're going to be getting a Spotlight Hour featuring the Pokemon Wurmple with a double experience bonus for evolving Pokemon. If you're looking to get yourself a ton of experience, make sure you save all of those low evolution cost Pokemon in your collection, pop a lucky egg, and evolve them during this Spotlight Hour. Wurmple is actually one of those Pokemon. Alrighty, and of course, that leaves us with PvP. So what's going to be active in the Go Battle League during this week? Until this Tuesday, August 11th, we're going to have the Open Ultra League along with the Weather Cup Great League Edition. And then afterwards, for the rest of the week, we're going to have the Open Master League along with the Evolution Cup Great League Edition. The season is going to be winding down as we only have 1 month left. So if you're looking to get higher rankings for better rewards, then make sure you do a bunch of battles during this week. You do not want to miss out on it. Alright, well, there you go. We have that one community day featuring the Pokemon NICKIT, and we also have a legendary raid boss that might actually be worth going after. That is, of course, Groudon. I actually do think that even though it is not the primal reversion of Groudon, it's not primal raid, so you're not going to get primal energy, it still might be worth going after because, much like with Kyogre, even though you're not getting primal energy, you still have the chance at getting yourself perfect IVs, which is going to take you really far. And Groudon is one of those Pokemon where it doesn't hurt to farm up candies for it whenever you have a chance, because if you ever get lucky enough to get a perfect IV of a Shadow Groudon, for example, or even just a regular Groudon, you will want to max it out. Regular Groudon, of course, if you get the primal energy, you could primal revert it. It's the same thing kind of as Mega Evolutions, and that is a very powerful ground type. One of the best in the game, if not the best in the game. And of course, If you're not gonna opt to raid Groudon, you could always go for Mega Garchomp. That is one of the best Mega Evolutions currently in Pokemon Go, and you'll have the opportunity to actually get Mega Energy for that Pokemon. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff to do even though it's an off week, and yeah, that's pretty much it. That's going to be it for this video. Let me know your thoughts regarding this week's content down below. Is there something in particular during this week that you are looking forward to? Make sure you share what that is in the comments, and let's have a great discussion. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, found it to be informative, best thing you could do to support my channel is hitting the like button for this video. If you're watching this on mobile, make sure you hype up the video. There is a hype button somewhere down there. And also subscribe if you haven't done so already. Turn on that notification bell as well, so you know exactly when I upload videos. Also, take some time and check out the links in the description below. One of them is my Patreon page, and if you join my Patreon, you get a spot on my Pokemon Go friends list. So if you want to play Pokemon Go with me, then make sure you go and check out my Patreon. And that's going to be it for this video. I'm Count Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, have yourself a really solid week, and I'll catch you in the next video.